Welcome to Groups This Week. As a church, we exist to help all people become fully devoted followers of Jesus. We believe doing life together is a crucial part of that journey. During this time, we're going to unpack and dig deeper into the sermon we heard this past week. Let's dive in as we continue to grow in our faith, knowledge, and love of Jesus together.
Hey everybody, it's Brad here with Sam, and kind of stepping into our new year now with community groups and the whole ministry year. One of the things we do, Sam, I think quite consistently, probably over the last decade at least, is that we kind of come back every year. We want to set the foundation right. We want to talk about the DNA of who we are as CA Church, and we continue to go back to our vision of who we are. We always seem to have this little series on the vision
often
and things
in the
that are
fall
important.
in September.
Yeah. So why is that so important, do you think, that we do that?
Well, I think it is helpful for us as a church family who's meeting in multiple locations and services throughout the year to once a year just to even recalibrate and say, here are the things that we care deeply about. Here's the kind of people that we want to be. And especially, this fall marks 50 years of ministry in the Tri-Cities.
Yeah.
And so especially at a moment like this, at 50 years, I think it's really beautiful for us to be able to say, here are the things that have been important to us over this last half a century. And here's how that's going to play out. Those same things we've been committed to, but in maybe new and creative ways, or in ways that we have for a long time, going to play out in this next number of years. So I think it's helpful to calibrate.
Yeah, that's great. And not just to remind, but also we have so many new people coming to the church, right?
That's
I was just having lunch with someone yesterday, and he's like, here's my list of things I want to know about, the character of this church.
Yeah.
And so for people who very often in the fall, it's like they almost like January, they're like, I got to turn over a new leaf, or I got to step into the year differently. And maybe saying, hey, this is what we're about. If you're saying yes to us, this is what we're all about. So that's helpful. We're not pulling the wool over anyone's eyes or doing a bait and switch. This is who we are.
This is who we are.
One of the big things that we want to talk about is hospitality. And you hit on that in your message this weekend. Tell me a bit. You looked at Mark chapter 2 and talked about this, the understanding of hospitality, what gets in the way of hospitality, and things like. Can you just unpack a little bit of Mark chapter 2 and what goes on there and what it tells us?
Yeah, I think we see two different things happen in Mark chapter 2 around hospitality. First, I think we actually see a crisis in hospitality. Okay. In that there's this crowd of people, there's this guy trying to come, this group of friends who are trying to bring their friend to Jesus, this paralyzed friend to Jesus. They come and there's just a crowd of people, essentially this wall preventing this guy from coming to Jesus, from getting to him. And so we see this crisis of hospitality being essentially making room for others, making space for the other, this love of strangers. So we see this crisis of hospitality. And then we see on the other side, we see the friends doing whatever they possibly can to get their friend to Jesus. Yeah. And so we see both of those things being true. And I think it presents this beautiful opportunity for us to say, okay, who are we going to be? Right. And we talked about, that crowd. I think there's lots of things
who are we in the crowd?
There's lots of things that they could have been thinking in that moment. One is, they also had needs, right? So yes, this guy has needs, but we have needs too. And so we're here to listen and to hear from Jesus. Maybe that was it. Yeah. I also talked about maybe they knew that Jesus had a weakness for hurting broken people, right? Yeah. And they're like, just don't let him see this guy, because if he sees him, he's going to stop everything.
Over. Yeah, this is over.
And maybe he was at the climax of his talk, and they're like, if Jesus sees him, we're not going to hear the conclusion. So it could have been that. It could have just been that they weren't thinking about him. He wasn't even on their consciousness. Yeah. And that is something that I think we often are all guilty of, is not intentionally trying to keep people out, but just not thinking about that person who needs to come in, needs to hear, needs space in order to come to the feet of Jesus.
Yeah, I love that idea, that kind of along the second point you were making there, that idea that we almost have our agenda, and this is how we want to see Jesus work. Yeah. And we don't want to make room for these other things. Let's just keep everything comfortable. Yeah. And often, I guess, our comfort can keep us from being hospitable. Yeah. Right? In so many ways. That could be a whole other thing we could unpack.
Well, totally. And in church, like even in a Sunday gathering, I think it's easy to, I have my seat. Don't sit in my seat. Or even community group. Right. Community group can often feel closed. It's like, these are my friends. Don't disrupt what we have going here. Yeah. But we always want to be people who are making space for the other. Yeah. There's others who need friendship, who need what you have in your beautiful group. Right. And so we always want to be pulling up another chair.
Great, so good. One of the things you are extremely passionate about, we've been passionate about this at our church for quite some time, is this kind of culture that Alpha brings to the church. Yeah. And it's been helpful to the church, capital C. Yep. It's been extremely helpful.
Almost 30 years.
You could probably throw a dart, don't do it, but you could throw a dart at the congregation. You'd probably hit someone who came to faith because of Alpha.
Yeah, let's not do it.
Yeah, let's not do it. Tell us a bit about what's so attractive about Alpha and the characteristics of it that you'd love to see, not just be at Alpha, but kind of make their way into the rest of church and community groups and things like that.
Well, yeah, I think one of the things Alpha does so well is it creates this culture of hospitality, of welcome. There's also this culture of there's no dumb questions. Right. Yeah. Right. Like we can just come as we are. Yeah. And I know this is something you're really passionate about, right? Yeah, it's like let's just take our masks off, and there doesn't have to be like a we'll just, you can share whatever it is that you're thinking, any questions you have, and there's no judgment. We're all on a path towards Jesus. We're in different places. Yeah. And we also don't have to have all the answers. I love that about Alpha too. Yeah. Is it's not like come to us and we'll tell you how it is. It's like, let's just talk about the most important things of life. Yeah. And then trust that the Holy Spirit's going to work in the middle of the mess. And so that does happen at Alpha, but that's something we want to be true of us as a people as well. Yeah. That anyone and everyone can come to the table. Yeah, so good, so good. What an important message for this time of the year, but for the church to be a place of hospitality, whether it be Alpha, our other ministries, the Sunday morning, whatever ministries we're welcoming people, and to our community groups as well. So hopefully that is helpful. Have a great conversation at your group.
We hope you enjoyed the teaching today. If you're wanting to follow along with our community group's discussion guide with your group, you can head to cachurch.ca/media, where you can find the discussion guide. Not only are there questions there related to the sermon, but there's also prayer prompts that relate to the passage or the topic that we were talking about, and practices that you can, on an individual level or a group level, begin integrating into your life to not only bring this knowledge into your mind, but to begin living it out.